Hello, everybody. Just like from the neighborhood INFP, and treat this episode as a filler, if you will, as I try and figure out the other stuff I've got planned. But in the meantime, we are going to be looking at the Genshin Impact characters as their MBTI types. Some of them I will not know due to having very little understanding of the characters or like what they do, and I haven't done a super in-depth study on each of the characters to be able to give a super accurate assessment as to which ones are which. But I will do my best for the ones that I do not know, and I'll make, or the ones that I do know, and I'll make predictions for the ones that I don't know. With that being said, let's start off with Xiao. Xiao has had the benefit of coming out recently, having his own storyline, and then, interacting with him in Liyue's Act 3. You get a general sense of the character, despite the fact that I do not have him. And for me, it feels like if his personality isn't edge and angst added on with Linkin Park's crawling or numb, which one? No, crawling. Definitely crawling. With Linkin Park's crawling, if you take all of that out of his character and the whole angsty, edgy person, antisocial person he is, I personally would set him down to likely be a ISTJ, but in a different sort than Zhongli, but we'll get to Zhongli when we get to Zhongli. He has been doing his duty for thousands of years. Dedicatedly, he's the last remaining survivor, and he is still stuck with doing that one thing over and over and over and over again, to the point of knowing how to master himself, what he needs to do, what his tasks are, how to keep the peace, etc., etc., etc. And he is knowledgeable about certain things, different things than Zhongli are. Remember, ISTJs are not always the same. It is the pattern that they usually get into that and why they're doing it that makes them the ISTJ, but that's neither here nor there. Now, I would also kind of accept ISTP, but I'm almost positive he is an ISTJ, because I feel like an ISTP would be driven insane if they had to do the same task over and over and over and over and over again without any room for change. And this guy is definitely one of those people who, he does not like getting out of his comfort zone. He does not like doing anything past his own thing. You almost have to force him to go and see the festival. That's why Xiao, ISTJ. Now, Ganyu is a little bit similar to Xiao, except she's not an ISTJ. She is an ISFJ. She also has been doing the similar work over and over and over again. She is uncomfortable going out of the norm. She believes that if people do not need, like, if she does not have work to do or people don't have things to do for her, she is unneeded. She is comfortable in the city. She has named every single dog. She has a lot of information about personal connections with absolutely everyone, which you experience in her quest. And once again, she is a person who loves to help out. She finds immense, I guess you could say, immense joy in it. She enjoys doing it regardless. But like Xiao, she has a very difficult time moving past her comfort zone, and as soon as she believes that people don't need her, she freaks out and tries to figure out what her life's meaning is, and like she assumes the worst almost immediately as soon as she believes that people don't need her, which could be her falling into a knee grip. Who knows? Regardless, Ganyu is a ISFJ. Then we have Albedo. Albedo is, I want to say he is neither an Okay, so I haven't played him much. I did play his quest line, and he is interested about stuff, but he's more interested about the reaction. It's more of a internal thought process. So I would almost assume that Albedo would be a TIE user or a introverted thinker. So for Albedo, I would say he's probably either a INTP or a ISTP. He's willing to try new things. He's willing to try experiments. He enjoys going out into the private and doing his sketching things. He is definitely an introvert, despite having to take care of Klee, but we'll get to that later. He focuses on trying to understand the world around him, how it works, why it does the things that it does. He likes picking it apart and seeing what fits. So I would almost say ISTP for Albedo, but I would also accept INTP. With that, moving on, we have Zhongli. Now, not to spoil anything, but Zhongli knows a lot for a certain reason, and he can tell you the details of where to find the best flours or recipes for a dish, where you can get certain types of rock, where you can get certain types of... He is very... When it comes to the quintessential ISTJ that knows everything, that archetype of the ISTJ that knows everything, that is Zhongli. He knows the entire the UA like the back of his hand, and for those of you who have played his quest, you know exactly why he knows the entirety of the UA like it's the back of his hand. And he has watched history. He knows tidbits of absolutely everybody. He is probably more of a proper ISTJ than Xiao is, like a more, I would say, healthier type of ISTJ. Now, moving on, we have Xinyan. I think that's how you pronounce her name. She is probably... to the best of my knowledge, either a ESTP or a ESFP. I want to say ESTP due to her, like... But ESFP also works. Like, hold on. It's a... I'll need to play her more to, like, get a... Once again, I haven't done this in a while. Or I haven't played her in a while. So I haven't gotten up to the ranks and haven't checked out the storylines and everything. So I'm going based off of what I know thus far, not a super in-depth thing. Xinyan strikes me, from what I know of her, to be more of an ESTP than a ESFP. She enjoys performing. She enjoys the thrill of it. She enjoys testing her limits and gathering the crowd and all of that. There isn't... Like, I would also accept ESFP for her, but, like, I'm between the two. She's either ESTP or ESFP. I don't know which one it is. Now, Tartaglia, or Child, is 100... I believe he is 100% an ESTP. He enjoys fighting. He enjoys getting stronger in order to fight again. The reason he makes you his friend is, well, because you're strong and you beat the ever-living crap out of him. He enjoys a good fight. He enjoys thinking. He enjoys kind of helping run the bank, sort of, in the system. He's also very rich, so he is kind of good with money. Not as rich as Ningguang, but we'll get to her later. His whole thing is about being, like, active and doing things and thinking on his feet and being very quick, and of course sensory pleasures that may come to him, and, you know, the good fight here and there. So ESTP for Tartaglia. Diona, I honestly don't know. For the lollies, I honestly don't know. If you guys have an idea as to what the lollies could be, please let me know, because I don't even know who one of my favorite characters, Qiqi, is, although I have suspicions, but we'll get to Qiqi when we get to Qiqi. Diona is... From what I've experienced, I think she might be. This is just my theory. You guys can let me know down in the comments below. If my theory is correct, I think Diona might be an ISFP. Because she is a master at creating drinks. Yes, she works at a tavern, creates drinks. She's trying to ruin, the whole joke with her is she's trying to ruin the alcohol industry, but everything she creates is so masterful that, like, no matter what she does, she always creates a good product. Like, it's almost like second nature to her to create. She can't go against that nature, that to create something good despite really not wanting to. So for Klee, or for Diona, sorry. For Diona, I highly suspect ISFP. She has her own moral givings as to the wine industry. And yes, she is a bit of a tsundere. But yeah, for her, I suspect ISFP, but I could be wrong. Once again, I can't, due to lollies being lollies or like kind of children, it's hard to be able to type them even in this game. Now, Klee is a, shall we say, a exploding force of nature who is very energetic, likes to go out to play, is stuck into kind of solitary confinement because she is both a danger to herself and to others, has a very active imagination, and believes things very easily. So I would say she's probably an ENFP, but I could be wrong. She could also be an ENTP. I honestly don't know which one of the two, but I do see high knee energy in her. And she's adorable, but also very dangerous, because honestly, who gives a kid with high knee energy bombs and teaches them how to make them? Thank you, Alice. For those of you who know, you know. Moving on, we have Venti, the bard of the game, the person who is quite literally one with the wind. Very extroverted, knows a lot about this and that, but is very people-focused, likes gathering attention to people, and of course, kind of hedonistic too, and massively enjoys alcohol, and that's usually what leaves him broke, is his enjoyment of said alcohol, especially at Diluc's tavern. So with that being said, his enjoyment of performing, his enjoyment of being around other people, his enjoyment of helping people, his enjoyment of just being surrounded by people, entertaining them, helping them, and all of that, I will give Venti ESFP. Then we have Keqing. Keqing? Is that how you pronounce her name? Anyways. She is a bit forward-thinking. She is a bit of a tsundere in some aspects. She believes that the city should be run according to a different viewpoint. She has a bit of a... Everything for Keqing is, like, future-focused. So, for her, it's not so much of, let's help out the people, because she doesn't fully understand the people, but she understands what will help make things better in the city. And that is why I think Keqing is likely an INTJ. She thinks about the future. She has that enjoyment of, like, you know, going shopping as her one pleasure that she has out of, like, a bunch of other things that she wants to create to make a better place for Liu. Plus her massive, hilarious crush on Zhongli. But yes, Keqing, definitely INTJ. Then we have Mona, who I honestly do not know a lot about. Yes, she is in the game. She's an astrologer. I don't have her. I know somebody who does. And once again, I probably should have done more digging, but this is just more of a filler episode. If you want more of a detailed episode as to which character is what, let me know in the comments down below, and I'll probably do individual episodes as to which character is what. But regardless, Mona is likely from her storyline and all that, I want to say INTP. Personally, I want to say she's an INTP. She has vast knowledge into a bunch of stuff. She doesn't even necessarily have to be an INTP. She could be something else. I wouldn't know, but the whole joke with her is she's broke because astrology doesn't pay, and she doesn't care about doing any of the other stuff. So, because she finds astrology the most interesting and I guess intellectually stimulating. And so I want to say INTP, but I don't have full context of the character to be able to say, yes, she is 100% this. I'm just guessing on this part. Now we have Qiqi, who is absolutely adorable. She is probably the best. Not only is she the best healer in the game, but she's one of my favorite characters in the game. And the problem with Qiqi is that she has memory problems due to being a zombie, or whatever the Chinese word for those zombies are. The jumping zombies that go like this all the time. So with Qiqi, she is... I honestly don't know, but she has to follow a routine. She has to, in order to keep her memory intact, in order to keep her body intact, she has to go through certain routines to do stuff, and she is always looking for affirmation in somebody to actually care about her. So I want to say, due to having to follow strict routines and all of that, and having the knowledge of medicines that she does, but also being very clueless, I would say she's an ISFJ who's got memory problems. Maybe. I honestly, I don't know. She could also be an ISFP. I really do not know with Qiqi. If you guys have an idea as to what she could be, let me know. I've read through her entire story. I've read her entire voice lines. She is very much a person who gets very attached to you and is looking for that validation and affirmation. So I feel like she likely would be a feeler. Yes, a feeler. But I don't know. So that's just where my theory stands off right there. And I'll leave it at that. Now, Diluc. Diluc is, in this game, everybody who plays it jokes about Diluc being Fire Batman, because his storyline is similar to Batman's. He's kind of rich like Batman, and he's a vigilante like Batman. He is literally Fire Batman, but his personality is not the same as Batman's. In fact, Diluc's personality is more akin to that of an ISTP. He does his own thing. He doesn't trust others. He will help you out, but he's not he wants to be kept out of the picture, even though he has a bunch of spies everywhere so that he knows what's going on. For Diluc, he wants to be part of the action, but he doesn't want to be with, he wants to be part of the solo action, so to speak, and whatnot. So with Diluc, definitely ISTP in my mind, but I suppose you could convince me otherwise. But for right now, everything is telling me ISTP. Now, Jean, you have multiple, she's one of the very first characters that you encounter in the game, and she has her own storyline, and a bunch of stuff happens. With Jean, I want to say she is a other ISFJ. Much like Ganyu, she's constantly working. She's the acting grandmaster. Everybody jokingly refers to her as Momstat. because she looks after Mondstadt, and like cares about the people in it, and cares about doing the right thing, and cares about having the regulations done, and cares, like, she's very much the kind of mom in the game, but she's not extroverted enough to be an ESFJ, and quite often prefers to be alone, much to the worry of some other people, because, they think she might collapse without them noticing, just due to how much she likes being alone. So for Jean, definitely ISFJ. Sucrose, I know jack all about Sucrose. I saw her briefly in Albedo's quest. I do not have her. I did not research her. But if I really don't know. She's sweet. I know that much. And she enjoys learning about new things, and she enjoys learning about like studying stuff. So I would say either INTP or INFP for Sucrose. But since I have not studied her story, I do not know which of those two things it would be. Chongyun, a person I know even less about than Sucrose. I don't even know how extroverted he is. If I were to make a guess, due to like the absolute minimum that I know about him, it would be he's apparently extroverted from what people have told me. He, I guess, enjoys messing with Xingqiu. I'm going, for the moment, because once again, I know nothing about this guy, I am going to say ESTP, maybe, or ESFP, one of those two, maybe, I don't know. Do not flay me alive. Once again, I do not have this character. He has not appeared in any of the stories. I cannot make any assessment based off of him, and I have not done previous research. So, there you go. Noelle, ISFJ. She wants to desperately be part of the Knights. She is very happy to help out anyone. As soon as you call your name, she's there to help you out. She will defend you. She will be around you. She is just, I would say, almost the stereotypical kind of ISFJ who's always there being your kind of maid and like all of that kind of stuff in that kind of way. And she wants to desperately join the Knights. But for some reason she has not been able to, despite having all the skills to be able to do so. But yes, in the city, she is known very much as the person, if you need help, all you need to say is the name Noelle, and she will be there to help you. And for that reason, and that being her routine, and like making you breakfast, and like her pancakes, doing like the sweet, she has serious ISFJ vibes going for her, and thus she is an ISFJ. Bennett, the most unlucky character in the game. Once again, I haven't really built him up, so I don't really know what his story is, what his voice lines are, etc. I know he's extroverted. I know he enjoys adventure. I know he wants to be around other people, but he is so unlucky that other people don't want to be around him. And he has a lot of energy. But you can't feel like this is an extrovert who has definitely been kind of ostracized due to his literal curse of bad luck. So I want to say he's probably an ESFP, but I could be wrong. Fischl, the Chuni of the game. For those of you who don't know what a Chuni is, it is essentially junior high syndrome, where you believe that you're something you're not. And she acts that out almost entirely, thinks she's a princess of this completely different world, has a raven familiar that helps her out, it's almost embarrassing to watch her because you're like, oh man. Like, she even does the evil eye thing. She even does the evil eye thing. For those of you anime nerds out there, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Because of how active her imagination is, it almost, like, she creates these stories constantly. The problem is that I don't know whether or not, I think she's an introvert. Possibly. She could also be an extrovert, but I haven't used her enough to, once again, I haven't really studied up all these things. She's either in my... I am loath to say it. I am absolutely loath because I don't want to. Like, I have a physical reaction to not wanting to say it, but it makes so much sense that I've got to say it. She's probably an INFP, and that hurts me. I mean, she could also be an INTP, but, like, her active storyline, her, like... She could be an INFP. She could be an INFP. And that hurts. That hurts me right here. Because it is terribly embarrassing to watch her. Even though she's, like, one of the highest damage dealer 4-stars in the game. And is, like, good as sub DPS as well. So I do not see, like, the difference between an INTP and an INFP is that she is creating her own world in her mind and is acting that out. And, like, yeah, I suppose an INTP could do that, but I feel like they'd be focused. It's really hard. It's really hard. I have to go with what I think, and I think, unfortunately, that she is probably an INFP. Because she is certainly not down on the earth. I can tell you that much. Now, Ningguang. Oh my goodness, you beautiful person, Ningguang. ENTJ, 100%. I love this woman. I love this woman. I love this woman. And I'm actually building her up in game to be, like, one of my main DPS characters. But yes, she had, like, for those of you who know, she has a floating jade palace as her home or place she went to work, or had, yes. And she, from Zongling's thing, is that, like, as a kid, she would go for the goal of, like, gaining money. She would sell her wares. She knows exactly what she wanted. She knows all the future plans. People go crazy over her plans. Like, they go absolutely nutty. Like, there's a thing that there's, like, the Snow and Liu is basically her throwing shredded paper, and people fight over it because it holds such important information as to what's about to become the next trend in Liu because of her predictions. So she definitely is forward thinking. She enjoys money. She creates games. She enjoys, like, talking with people and seeing how things are run. Some might say she could be an ESTJ, but in my mind, she is an ENTJ, and thus she will remain as an ENTJ. Moving on, we have Xingshu, another INFP. He is focused on his books, pays very little attention to what goes on around him unless he has to. Very, very, very high on what is the moral thing to do, is proceeding to revive a martial arts system that was about to die because he believed in it. And as such, he, like, everything about him strikes me as that very active INFP. I believe in this cause so much that I'm going to do something. But he's also kind of oblivious enough that as soon as he doesn't need to do something, he will go back to reading his book and let you handle the rest, even though he's also kind of paying attention in another way. He's a very interesting character. You may have other thoughts. You may think he's an INFJ or some other thing, but he's definitely, unless you can convince me otherwise, I see him as an INFP. Beto, ESTP or ESFP. I don't know what. She is the very definition of hedonism. She enjoys the whole eat, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow you may die. That is essentially what should be her slogan. And as such, wow, this video is a lot longer than I had anticipated it. So enjoy that, I guess. Yeah, she is definitely a ESTP because she also enjoys the fight. She leads a crew on her ship, and she is a very quick thinker to the point where she was able to beat Ningguang. So she does have like a level of intelligence that can rival Ningguang, even if it is in a more backhanded type way, where, yeah, Beto, like, there's a quote that says, it isn't a problem that Ningguang, it's not a problem that Beto beat Ningguang at her own game. The problem is that she dared to take her money afterwards. Or dared to do it in the first place. So these two have a very interesting dynamic. And Beto is definitely, because of that, and because of having the quick thinking and enjoying that quick thinking that allowed her to beat Ningguang at her own game, that is probably the reason I'd give her the ESTP along with the hedonistic approach to her. Zhongli is absolutely adorable. She is definitely an extrovert. She enjoys cooking. She, like, loves testing out new foods. She enjoys the sensory things of, like, trying even really weird stuff. Zhongli, ESFP, hands down. She might even be an ENFP. Due to always trying new things, but I think that would probably be more of a sensor thing because she always tests things and goes, I wonder what would be good for this, and then she'll taste it, and then she'll be like, oh, I can make this with this, after tasting it, and very much in the present focus on food. So for Zhongli, I would give her ESFP. Then we have Razor, who is an introvert, doesn't understand much of the world. He's our wolf boy with his own stand. I want to say probably a ISFP with poor social skills because he's embraced the whole lightning bit. He has his own morals even before he integrated with the humans of the area. So for Razor, I think he's an ISFP, but he could... Yeah, I'll just leave it at ISFP. Barbara... I have not played her much, but she's kind of like she's the idol of Mondstadt. She's a pop singer. She enjoys helping other people out. I do not know whether or not she's an introvert or extrovert. That's the problem. But she performs for people, creates songs, creates catchy tunes, enjoys helping people out, enjoys singing at random. Is just really cute and has that whole K-pop, J-pop energy going for her. I'm going to say, from what I know of that, probably maybe ESFP or I don't see her as an ESFJ. I'll say ESFP for now, but unfortunately they do not make her super energetic, and she sounds super reserved now, doesn't have that high energy she did before. So maybe she's more of an introvert, in which case also ISFP, maybe? I don't know. I'm going to just say straight up, I don't know. Tell me what you guys think. Lisa is all about efficiency. Like, yeah, she's got that whole aura energy going on about her. She runs the library, but she'd rather be relaxing. She has information about absolutely everything and knows a lot about a lot. but she'd rather have other people do it. She'd rather find times where she can just laze around and do nothing. For her, it's just being efficient so that she can be lazy, and thus INTP in my mind. Although I would also accept ENTP if you were to prefer that as well. Because I really don't know whether she's more of an introvert or an extrovert. I think she's more of an introvert. That leads me to say she's an INTP. Kea is shady. He's shady, and he is very shady. He knows what goes bump in the night and enjoys watching the occasional chaos here and there. I initially thought that he was an INTJ, and he still might be an INTJ, but he always knows what's going on, and he keeps it to himself. He enjoys knowing those secrets. He enjoys keeping those secrets to himself for future use, and you never really know what he's up to, hence INTJ. So I'll just keep it at INTJ. Amber is another ESTP. She enjoys, flying on a glider, testing the limits, breaking the rules, some of the time. Like, before she was, like, very much in the breaking the rules, but then, like, part of her story, she learned that, like, how much, I think, one of her parent figures, I guess you could say, or grandparent figures, like how much they helped clean up her mess, which caused her to calm down and appreciate what they had done for her. So I think Amber is a ESTP, but she could also be an ESFP. And with that being said, with an almost holy crap, this video was far longer than it should have been. Enjoy your filler, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye-bye!